Hello everyone. Before starting, we would like to invite you to download the file that it's in this same page called Download the Introduction Guide. It's a PDF and we will use it for a guideline for this presentation. If you don't have it, it's okay, we're just going to go through it. And
hello.
Hello. Yeah.
My name is Juan David Martin. I'm also part of the team that created Design the New Business. I am from Colombia. We're the Latin part of the directors. Yeah. And we're very happy you invited us to this event.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Miguel Melgarejo. I'm from Mexico. And yeah, we were part of the developers team, or as we like to call it because it sounds more fancy, part of the directors team of this documentary. We will guide you now through the introduction, then we will show the documentary, and we will stay in the chat in case you have any questions and things during the documentary. So for those that don't know about this documentary, well, Design New Business is basically a documentary about how design and business are interacting and changing each other. And there's more. There's a lot of things behind it. It was an initiative by Eric Roscom-Aving from Silver Innovation,
which we are in the headquarters here of Silver Innovation at this moment.
Yeah, these are their offices. And basically, Eric Roscom-Aving saw a need for a tool that could be used to introduce the topic of design in business for people that don't know about it, but also to be used as a tool for people that work in this field to create a discussion around it. So it's more like an object to be used for discussions, right?
As we like to say, it's not as we're trying to do something to people to see as a final produced object, but it's more a boundary object that we see as something to initiate a conversation. So we've had already some screenings. We're really pleased of how people see the movie and are triggered to say some comments, also some feedback of what they see the movie, of how they see the movie, and how they see the topic.
Yeah. Well, but first to continue with the story, Eric had this idea, and basically he contacted 6 master students from the strategic product design program from the TU Delft. We one morning received an email saying, "Hey, I had an idea of made this documentary. Would you be interested in doing this, developing this as part of a summer internship?" And well, none of us had any idea of how to do a movie.
But we were not worried about doing the movie. We were more worried about or concerned that we wanted to do this research and go into the field and find out what was design thinking, or how were people applying design in a sphere or in a level that was very far from us.
Yeah, I think that as students, we hear a lot of what design thinking is or might be, but we were curious to see if that was true in the professional field. So that was for us a way to prove it in a way. If in case we're seeing the PDF, I will introduce the other team members. If you're seeing that picture, is from top left is Ezra Gokos from Turkey. Then is Juan David there from Colombia. Then is Gunjan Singh from India. Eric Van Bergen from the States. Then it's me from Mexico. And then it's Marta Ferreira de Sá from Portugal. So it was a very interesting project because it was only amongst international students that we made this movie. So for us, everything was new, let's say.
It was also very exciting because we had done some works together and we were like friends, but I think none of us had worked together before. So as you're gonna see in the presentation, this teamwork was very important for the outcome of the movie and how we produced it.
Yeah. So after the team was conformed, we started to develop different storylines and deciding who we wanted to be in the movie. We started to explore the Silver Innovation Network and the possibilities that this network had for us to choose and pick participants, let's say. We decided to pick some companies that are already applying this sort of design approach to some of their problems. We decided to choose some people from the academia to sort of fundament the theory behind it, and some design consultancies along with their clients to see how they are really applying and how they see this field in general. Amongst the companies that you will see in a bit are
Intel, Volkswagen, OC, all the consultancies there's one from Spain, one from United Kingdom.
Claro Partners, Engine, Service
Design companies.
And basically what we did was to travel with a little bag and a lot of tools that we made by ourselves to film this documentary, and it was really hard. We traveled more than 8,200 kilometers. We ended up with 30 hours of footage and a lot of commitment to make this a good movie. It was really hard, as I said before, because we didn't have any idea of how to do a documentary, and it was a pretty good challenge to make sense out of it.
Yeah, it was as we like to see it, and as you're gonna see if you see the press releases, we saw it like a design process. So we first had to research about not only the topic we're gonna do in the movie, but how actually a movie was done. So that was also very interesting for us, how to approach a topic we had never seen before. We had never done anything about doing a movie or about creating even a video.
Yeah. And this started as a summer project, but at the end we took more than 7 months to develop the whole film and to distribute it amongst different film festivals and different companies that started to use it as a base for a discussion. It has been screened worldwide, to our surprise.
It was really interesting because before we even said we were gonna release it, or what was the plan, we got invited to 2 film festivals. One in Singapore, the Film Design, the Film Design Festival in Singapore, and another here. It was local. It was the Design Week of Eindhoven. But it was really interesting because at that moment we were still not done.
Yeah, we didn't have the movie and we were being invited. And this, of course, brought a lot of pressure on us, but it helped us to come with a good
due date, especially.
Yeah, with a due date and with a good outcome, we think. The feedback that we have had around the movie it varies. It's positive and negative, as anything else. The movie is certainly not an answer of what design thinking is, and yeah, it's just a tool, as we said. In that sense, we think it has been pretty successful as a tool for creating discussion.
Yeah, I think we decided that at the beginning of the movie we're not trying to define design thinking or design serve design. We were trying to document how was it working in industry. So yeah, if we're not posting an answer, it's not a movie to search an answer of how is it actually, how is
what's the future?
Yeah, of how the future, or that is how is that, I don't know the definition. It's more like how it's being seen by companies, how it's being worked with consultancies. Yeah, we hope that you also see the great adventure in the movie that we had.
And well, we are going to release the movie the 6th of March completely in the internet. You're going to see it in a bit even. But yeah, it's just the beginning of something new, and I believe you can say a bit more about that.
Yeah, so while you're watching the movie, you're going to hear some some strange voices. We also didn't know how to manage the voices in the movie. But we would like you to focus on the content, so to actually see what's happening and not to focus too much in how the technical issues came out. We've had that feedback from some people talking about the technical issues we had, which we know, and we're learning. And about the workshops, next stage, as we like to call it, is the workshops. As the movie is a mean to initiate a discussion, a conversation about design and business, how they collaborate, how they can be worked out in the future. We want to start doing more screenings, but to make them with a workshop afterwards. Meaning, after you're going to see while you're watching the movies, a lot of questions are triggered, a lot of thoughts are triggered about the topic. So what we want to do with the workshops is gather all that information to hear from people what did they see in the movie, what's their personal experience with business, what's their personal experience with design, and to start collecting that information. We still don't know if, I don't see clearly if there's going to be another movie, but we want to do something with that information to actually see what people think during the movie and afterwards about what's happening nowadays with design and business.
Yeah, the workshops part is this Office Silver Innovation is working and developing these workshops. You can see more information in our website, designingbusiness.com. Just before we share you the link of the movie, we will release the movie completely in the internet the 6th of March with 3 versions, one with subtitles in English, another one with Spanish subtitles, and another one with Portuguese subtitles. We finally are going to release it because that's the goal of the movie, to be available for anyone that has an interest on it. And well, please follow our progress in our website and in our Twitter, whatever is. Our Twitter is @DTheNewB. That's our username. We will stay here if you had any questions during your, in case you have any questions during the documentary. And yeah, it will be available only for 2 hours. We will then put the password on the video again. So enjoy, and yeah, we will posting here the link for the video in the chat box. Whoa. Oh, and the link is below also. Great. Yeah.
Are we gonna talk again afterwards, or
yeah.
This is a goodbye?
I think this is a goodbye.
Okay. Hope you enjoyed the movie. Hope you follow the next step we're approaching. So it's time for popcorn, and
yeah,
see you online.
Yeah, please post your questions if you have, and yeah, enjoy. Maybe we can talk about stuff, right? I think what's curious to me is that one of the quotes that are most striking for the movie. Can you sit down, please? One of the quotes that are more striking from the movie are from Jan Baus. Jan Baus?
Yeah.
But when we started that interview, it was quite. He was quite negative. Not negative, but how do you say this?
Well,
he was hard.
The first approach, he was our first interviewee, so we were kind of really anxious towards the whole equipment and about the interview itself. So we approached him, and he said immediately, "So this is about design thinking."
Yeah.
I hate design thinking.
Yeah. I think that's a term that is good and bad because, I mean, it's good because it's sort of a term that you can use to refer to a very broad thing that is very fuzzy. But anyways, it's also a very commercial, let's say, term that a lot of people don't feel comfortable with.
Well, but I think after that interview when we arrived, all, the whole team, to our workspace, and we were grabbing our heads like, okay, what's going to happen with our movie about design thinking if people continue saying this? But we realized probably it's not about the term, but probably this is about the process, and probably it's really about documenting what's happening and now how a term is being used or not. So at that point, we did all the questionnaires again. I think actually we did the questionnaires every time we went to an interviewee. We found something new, so the next interview we embraced what happened in the one before and made a new questionnaire for the next.
One thing is also that if you see the movie, you will hear the term service design a lot, and we actually never mentioned it. I mean, ourselves in our questions. It was the interviewees who mentioned it so much. At the end, it would seem that we were making a movie promoting or saying service design is the next thing or whatnot. I don't know, but it was just something that kept on coming. Yeah. I don't know if this is true for all the different environments or if it's just true for certain industries in Europe.
Yeah, we acknowledge it's a very popular term as well as the one of design thinking, but we try to get away from buzzwords as much as possible in the movie. We thought we were not trying to make a definition of anything. We were not trying to pose like the new, how's the new buzzword, the Nussbaum said?
Creative intelligence.
Creative intelligence, or change the terms that are being used. But if you see in the movie, probably we use design thinking only 3 or 4 times, and it's not like every interviewee is referring to it directly, but it's more of how is the process being done and how they approach and tackle these complex problems that they're talking about.
Yeah. And yeah, it was quite interesting to see that at least in this side of the globe, one of the things that we can be focused, that companies need to be focused. Yeah, there's a baby. Yeah, one of Silver's associates is there in the back, and she brought her baby because this week is week of holidays in the Netherlands, right?
No, in Theodulf is holiday, so she's part of Theodulf also. Yeah. So she has to face that complex problem right now.
Yeah, she's using some design thinking to calm the baby. Anyways.
Monique, can you explain me a little the question of your
it
post?
says products here. The design is only about products.
Ah.
Yeah, design is also. I mean, if you go to the literature and you try to explore what design is really, then you don't hear. It's not. You understand that it's not necessarily about products, but all the media and all the fuzz around it, being it done by blogs or TV or whatever, you tend to associate design with fashion and objects.
Well, I think for that topic, the most interesting interview was with the guys of Volkswagen. When even for us, when we saw like the opportunity to interview people in Volkswagen and from the design team, we thought, okay, but how are we going to talk to them about the design thinking? Maybe it's just in the process how they come out with ideas for new products. So when you see they talk in the movie that also to them, when people ask them where do they work in design in Volkswagen, they already make this idea. So you make the exterior part of a car and you make the interior part, but they make a process of, it's more like the human-centered process where they're talking to people and trying to come up with new ideas of services or of things not linked to the car. They talk about a bank service also from Volkswagen, which we didn't even knew, and we were like kind of very surprised of all the things that Volkswagen could offer besides cars, or directly something that you could associate with a car. Although when you see the like the business model out of it, then you see how the bank is helping that customer to acquire the car, and then it continues being a very straight through process.
And also, another thing that also called our attention is that design or this kind of approaches are very much welcomed, maybe not straight from the beginning, but welcomed by top management. Because the kind of outcomes that come from this kind of tools are very, let's say, revolutionary in certain areas. And if you talk to people that are working constantly in making something more efficient, they just don't have the head or the time to focus in how to do things in a new way. They just want to, make to achieve their goals, their monthly goals or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you talk to people in higher areas in management, they will make a better sense of these kind of things. Yeah.
Maybe you have more questions or comments we can help you with?
Yeah. Just to repeat what we said before, the documentary today is going to be available till 5, so 1 hour more. What do you have for you? Yeah, we have
well, where we started it's the same as when you're tackling a design problem. So first of all was learning about doing movies. So we had a 1-day course of how to write script, another day of other technical issues, so how to manage the camera, how to manage the microphone, how to make the frame. After that we start doing the script of the movie, how we wanted to start putting, like, creating those patterns of how the information was going to be treated in the movie. So in the questionnaire we had already some idea of where was this interview going to be, and from the 2 hours from each interview we kind of already know the parts that were interesting for us. But either way, as we were going, that this is more like a technical issue from our part, but we were going only 2 to each interview. The whole 40 hours of footage was watched among all the team members, and every time there was this good and sometimes a bit complex discussions of, I think this quote is saying what we want to say, or this is the other quote. So,
but what we did, I mean, the dirty part was we basically made a transcript of the interesting quotes. Then we printed those quotes, and then we started playing with those quotes in sort of a timeline. And then we defined more or less the content of the movie that way, which was a very long and tiring process, because it involved a lot of discussions from all the team. One thing that characterize us as designers and as part of this team is that we are all very opinionated, and that was indeed a very interesting part where we were all discussing what things were in, what things were out.
But I think that was also very, very important of the whole process, because we were facing a project in which there was no established leader. So we had to come to a common ground among our thoughts. So knowing that sometimes we had to let go and leave another idea flow was, at the beginning, more complex, but that during the process it was getting more and more interesting, because we were actually reframing what we thought about every topic and every piece of information we were gathering from the interviews.
Yeah. And well, at the end we had this timeline, and then we started to edit the movie, which was, again, difficult, because one thing is to have the quotes and the flow, and another thing is making sense out of it in a visual way, let's say, movie-wise. So that was also a good challenge. And the other 30 or 40 hours of footage that we have, there's a plan indeed to cut the most important parts of every interview and start doing little snippets from those, and probably start to publish them in the future. But that's still a maybe.
Yeah, well, we did it last 2 weeks because we're gonna release some words from the producer, from Eric. So already this week we're getting back to the software of editing video and going back to that long days of editing and trying to get the information that you need.
Yep.
We actually know that sometimes, as we thought the answer was going to be in one quote, but when we started hearing the quote, it was actually not in a single sentence, or it was with a lot of so we couldn't put it that way. So each time it was like a new small project of how are we going to put the information we want to put in the movie.
Yeah, about the question about the workshops, there's a program that is being developed, and the idea is to use parts of the movie, including these other snippets, to make people reflect about different subjects.
Maybe we can show that.
Yeah, I'm going to turn the camera here. These are the outcomes of the last workshop that was done in the Utrecht house school. You can see them here. There are 7 clusters that are related to 7 different topics addressed from the workshop. You can see more information about this structure in our website under the workshops menu. And what we were hoping to achieve with this movie is to help people that are completely out of these topics to get a better sense of what design is and what design can do in the context of business. So to open the eyes of people that think that maybe design is only about fashion or objects or graphical things.
There was one thing that we really wanted to do was to put this information out in the world of how we were seeing this topic of business and design, but we also saw how we could use the film to introduce what we could do. We as designers, and I think every designer can agree with me on this, we try to explain to different people what are we actually doing. Even if we're doing some product design, but we're not actually doing the aesthetic part, it's very complex to explain what we do. So we wanted to have a boundary object, something that we could relate easier and hand it in to whoever was interested in us, but we were not. So we could not explain so easily, so they could understand what we were doing, this strategic approach and this design thinking, creative approach to businesses. So it was like both sides, to put it up in the air of this is what we see in the world, in the business and design world, and also for having us as a tool, as here is what I can provide to your company.
Yeah, and well, there's a lot of things that we wanted to include, especially for people that are more that are experts in the subject, so more tangible examples of how they did something. But unfortunately, in this case, there's a lot of NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, that prevented us from releasing this kind of information. It was a great experience for us, but unfortunately, it couldn't get into the movie. Yeah. So it ended up being more a general, in a movie about a general movie about a broad topic.
About the technical question of a filter on the camera, the answer is no. We went just with a camera, not even professional filming camera. It was a shot, a regular Canon shot.
Canon 600D. Yeah.
So we had, for example, in each interview, we had to film for 8 minutes, stop it, and begin again with another question. So those are like the little details of the behind the scenes. And afterwards, we received help from professionals in 2 topics. They helped us making a filter for the movie, so it makes like you can see it's the same movie all way long, and with the audio. When we arrived, especially after the interview in Barcelona with Clara Partners, and we start hearing
The audio.
the audio.
We're freaked out.
Yeah, because you only heard the echo, so you kind of heard the guys talking 2 times, and with this really Darth Vader voice, we were but we didn't realize when we were doing it, so we had to ask for professional help in the doing a color correction and audio edition.
Yeah, it was part of our. We were not really aware of what we needed to do in order to do a documentary, and when we started to research, we realized that it was kind of expensive to do a proper sound recording, for example. So we just went for the best thing that we could get with our creative budget, as we like to refer. And yeah, especially with the audio, we realized that it is a whole topic by itself. It's really difficult to achieve a good audio with non-professional material tools. Sorry.
And with the shots, I think it was really interesting for us when anybody arrives from a different country or city, when we start seeing the additional footage, to see there were some wonderful images of some of the places we visited. But it was like, it's something that probably us, as we're all designers, have this eye of seeing particular things in the street, or how we can put it in a frame, that were the ones that helped us. But it was a kind of unspoken language. We never said, let's try to get this from each of the cities. It was more like, be open and have some footage.
Yeah. And we were pretty much with the idea of just doing it and coping with it during the process.
To Anouk, as we were saying, we didn't have any idea of how to do movies in any way. And about the sequel, well, we believe the second step is start doing the workshops and start hearing what people want to say. Reflecting on these last days, we've seen as probably service design is changing the face of communication, of trying to put advertisements like one way. A company puts, here is a company, and people have to understand what's in the image or how they assimilate it, but there is not an answer. They can answer the company. With service design, the idea is that you can have a process of telling this and hearing an answer. The second step for the movie, we want that. We want that we're able to show the movie and start hearing what people have to say about it. So it's like also doing this design process all over again, but with another purpose. So I don't know, at this moment, if there's going to be a sequel. Let's see. I don't know.
Yeah. I think we are over our time. Is that right? And there, I guess, yes. I don't know if there's someone still there looking at this, watching this. Okay. So I think we are going to leave you guys this last 50 minutes of documentary, and well, hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this introduction was fruitful for you.
People can watch until 1 hour more.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there are more questions. If there are more questions, please. Okay. Well, thanks a lot, and see you around.
See you online.
Yeah, please go to our website, www.designdendobusiness.com.
Yeah.